Hey guys, you're watching Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 1, Episode 4. I'm Dana DiLorenzo, and I play Kelly.
What's up, guys? It's Ray Santiago, and I play Pablo Simon Bolivar.
Hello, folks. Bruce Campbell here. I'm playing Ash. Last week on our show, crazy shit went down. Elagos showed up and scared the hell out of us until we defeated him by flying through the air and locking onto a chainsaw. This week, more fun ensues. That's the beauty of episodic. You got to recap in case somebody was like, what happened last week?
Well, they do, and they do a great job of that, of hitting the points.
What? What'd you do with the cop?
And that just reminded me, by the way, for fans who don't know, that the Necronomicon, the actual Necronomicon, actually very heavy. Actually very heavy, like a book made out of human skin.
That's because it's made by the artisans in New Zealand.
That's
they don't
true.
seem to understand the difference between reality and fake. So my first Hercules episode I directed in '94 down there, I went to move a table on a set and threw my back out because the thing weighed like 700 pounds. I'm like, really? This has got to be like made out of oak? It's got to be an oak table? You guys can't do the Gilligan's Island thing and do bamboo or something like that? Like, look, mate, it says it wants a proper table. Oh, okay, guys, thanks. So, when you say I want a Book of the Dead, their eyes light up. They're like, I've got to make the best, most intense Book of the Dead ever. We ferry that thing around. The thing's got some mileage on it now.
Here we go, you guys.
Oh, in the Delta.
Our favorite scene of the whole season is about to come up.
Kel, you don't look too hot. You good?
Pull over, now.
I would call this an enhanced scene because the scene was actually filmed. And I think it was generically okay. But then they went, no, we need to do something different. So I think we went back and enhanced it and added the concept of the
Evil Dead Force.
being chased by the evil force.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, now, Ray, I'll go back to what you were saying about when you shoot certain sequences, you go, I feel silly. I sure feel silly looking in the rearview mirror and, oh, no, the door's locked. Oh, no, the windows went up. And, and I remember before we shot the sequence, too, I was saying to all you guys, I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out all the beats of this sequence. Otherwise, we're going to look like jerks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, remember we did it where we got 4 chairs. We sat in chairs up in the office for a second right before.
No, that's right. Let's just look at like a play because there's 8 billion, there's going to be 8 billion shots, but what really happened?
Right.
Well, what really was happening was that we had the rap party like maybe one night before or something like that.
Because the scene was a pickup.
Yeah.
We had shot it before, but we had to add to it.
And what I never told you, Bruce, or Dana, was that I was so hungover, and I was like,
You didn't even know your name.
I was like, are you kidding me? We have to like throw ourselves around this car like back and forth all day today. I thought I was
Right, with
puke.
energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Screaming at the top of our lungs.
But you learn to imagine what's coming at you on this show. I would show up to work every day, and I'd say to every director, like, look, just break it down for me as to what I'm looking at. I might look like I don't know what I'm doing at first, but once I go through the motions, I figure it all out. And once I commit, as you said, to that force coming after us, there's no turning back.
But with these sequences that are cut into 1,000 little pieces, this is where it's all about the piece of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. Where are we in this particular piece of the puzzle? And I always like, when it's time for these dumb sequences, for a director to actually sit you down and go, okay, this is the progression of what's happening. You're driving, the thing shows up. You try and do this. That doesn't work. You have a near miss.
Right.
Just where are we going with this before they cut it up into a million tiny pieces? And I love the fact that they added what is this, nitrous oxide or something like that. I'm like, okay, go Ash, go. Of course, he hasn't tested it. And I like how it's Pablo everything.
Yeah.
Pablo,
Yeah.
do this. Pablo, music. Pablo, book.
Now, should we keep the audience in suspense as to what's happening with movie magic, or should we tell them about how we actually shoot this? I'm gonna let you call that, Bruce. Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
would say it's okay. It's okay to reveal that this is a studio.
Yeah, so
with
we
rear
shoot. We
screen projection.
we shoot this stuff inside. We're actually not moving.
Right.
So to the Hollywood Foreign Press.
And the trick is, what they have to do. Well, it's funny when you get on the inside sequences, when you shoot a car that's supposed to be in the daylight in a studio. What's cool is that they have a projector that is projecting the passing scenery on the windshield like it would.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've got it going on the side windows. And when we film, there's usually two screens. There's one out either the front and the side or the rear and the side. So you can do two angles at the same time. The trick is those background, they call them plates. The plates have to be in sync with the car. So remember we had to pull over and stop so Kelly could puke? Well, that background plate has to pull over and stop also.
Right.
And when you film, you have to go, okay, let's line it up so that the car actors pretending to stop is in sync with the background that's going to stop. So it's actually pretty tricky, and you also have to balance a bright background with what's lit in the car. And that's really a testament to the cameraman to balance that. It's a big pain in the ass, but man, when the fakery works, here's what it's good for. The makeup people love it.
Right.
Because your hair isn't blowing all over the place. It's not blowing in your face. You're not sweating in a real car driving around. The sound guys love it because whenever you hook up a camera rig and you're towing an actual car, outside you hear this. And it's always the undercarriage of the rigging or the tow bar that's squeaking. And then you hear through the windows. And you're like,
He's so good at sound effects.
Thank you. And the sound guy is, of course, hanging himself because he's like, this fucking sucks. And the actors are more concerned about driving than acting. So this way, if you can fake it all, I think it's the way to go because all the departments are happy and the actors don't have to worry about turning this thing back around with a trailer on the end of it.
Right.
The advantages are multiple to just fake it. And if you have a show like Ash vs. Evil Dead, it takes place in its own world anyway.
Right.
So you can kind of create its own look, which I'm really glad for. It allows us a lot more leeway visually.
Well, and speaking of, we go from having projections and doing what we're saying, like a staged, a fake background while we're driving, but everything you're seeing right here is all very real.
Yeah.
And is all very strategic and what they created of this brew house, which I thought is another flawless example of our team and our crew.
Good old Hemke.
Hemke, we love and miss you. He was so good.
I love about Hemke, what's funny about guys who play these offbeat characters or like he plays badasses a lot of the time.
Yeah.
He has another show that he went to where he was playing some gangbanger, in Compton or whatever. And they're always the sweetest guys. It's the funniest thing. The guys who play the heroes are the assholes, and the guys who play the bad guys are the nice guys. What's up with that?
Well, then you must be playing a bad guy because you're very nice.
Oh yeah, thanks. I hope the check cleared.
Yeah, seriously.
But Hemke was great, and look, every new actor that comes into this show, I think we all did our good job making them feel comfortable, but they have to figure out what is the show. They don't know.
Yeah.
At least us, we've been in 2 or 3 episodes, get to know each other a little bit. But, these guys, this is where you have to have a director to keep everything in line, to make sure that everybody's in the same show. You can't have somebody acting completely differently.
Right, like on I Love Lucy, and we're sitting here, doing Deadites.
Yeah, exactly.
I think being in New Zealand sort of helped create a lot of what you see on camera relationship wise with everybody because we were so far removed from our normalcy and our normal world. And Hemke was there for I think maybe like a month or 3 weeks, and so we would hang when we weren't shooting. And I don't know, I think being in NZ really helps create some bonds on the show, I think.
Yeah, so that everyone is you're not going home at the end of the day by yourself. You're, with everybody. But a great story about Hemke after we had done that first table read. So we hadn't shot anything yet. I was with Mike Estes, who plays Austin in episode 7. And we are walking down by the water and we run into Hemke and he's like sweating and has this pained look on his face. And I'm like, oh, hi, Hemke. Are you okay? Because I know he had just like been there for 2 days or whatever. He said, yeah, I'm good. I said, well, what's wrong? He's like, well, I just booked one of those tours. I just came back from one of those tours to Rangitoto. I wanted to go see a volcano, and they said it was gonna be like a hike. I thought it was like a 20-minute hike. This was fucking 4 hours, man. I'm tired. I just want to go home. I was like,
But see, that's the beauty of the Kiwis. They go, oh yeah, have a little hike. Go for a hike.
4 hours later, he was like,
Well, you said you wanted to go for a hike.
and his like layers of clothes were just wrapped around his waist. Like he looked like he had been through the trenches. And you just, poor Hemke. But he's still, if you ever want to push his buttons, bring it up to him and be like, oh man, I just didn't know. He just didn't know. But he's like, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, come on, Hemke, go for a little stroll. Oh yeah.
I gotta give him props though, cause he was there for my birthday, and he sat me down when we went out, and he just said just gave me like a good talking to, and just was very inspiring, and he was kind of like the uncle that I never had on the show, but yeah, he's a really good guy. I really like him.
He just has he's one of those people that draws you in. He's not loud. He doesn't go out of his way to like get attention, but you just are drawn to him. He has such a great presence and aura. And
Yeah, when he speaks, you have to actually lean in a little bit, kind of.
yes. And I mean, his intensity, like when we all had individual scenes with him, when you're looking at him, he's so engaged in the scene with you and gives a lot to you, which is great.
Well, I give him credit. I'm doing Mo, Larry, and Curly here, and he's being this serious shaman. I'm like, hey, is it free? Is these drugs free? It's like,
By the way,
that's the
so
beauty of
funny.
acting with
Yeah.
different actors. They all have a different approach,
Right.
to doing it. They've all come from different backgrounds, different places.
Okay, so I ran to the storage shed.
In case we don't touch on it later, that scene that they ended up doing when you go on your little trip, Bruce, phenomenal.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can, when it comes on, we can talk about it. But
No, I'm not going to talk about it.
okay, well I'll talk about it.
If
for
you talked about it now, I can't talk about it.
You can't bring it
again.
up again.
It
What if I give
no,
you a
it would
sound
just
effect?
spoil it.
What if I give you a sound effect to doing it?
That's different. Then I'll do it.
Maybe I can call in a favor at the precinct.
This is I guess you could call this our back lot.
Yeah.
It is essentially the parking lot outside the stage. They've built false facades. Here's what's really cool. The lovely Kiwi ingenuity, and I suppose it may not be the first time it's ever been done. They took shipping containers and stacked them up and then just put a facade in front of that.
Oh yeah.
And boom, here's a street. And that's what's so great about these, the Kiwis. Our production design, Nick Bassett, these guys create a whole new world, and it has to be practical, and it has to work within Rob Tappert's budget. So, I mean, seriously, it does. So it's a really challenging thing. You have to satisfy Sam Raimi creatively, and you have to satisfy Rob Tappert from a budget perspective.
That's
So
tough.
these guys, they're squeezed from both sides. And God bless the Kiwis, man. They pull it out and they deliver.
Yeah.
They really deliver. Because I never would have thought they'd go to that much effort on those sets.
Yeah.
That much effort on the inside stuff. That much effort on details. You always hope, but you never really know until you get there. Until Sam and I went inside that Ash's trailer the first time and looked around, because the art department said, oh, yeah, you want to come and look around. And the stuff that they had put in there, the Michigan items, the Michigan State logos, the Faygo Red Pop, the type of beer, Stroh's beer. Incidentally, we're working on. I'm just going to say, watching future episodes and seasons, there's a custom beer that I've asked for.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not going to tell you when it's going to come in. It's Shemp's beer.
Shemps.
Shemp's beer, but it's done in the Stroh's beer logo style.
Nice.
So it looks like I'm drinking from a can of Stroh's, but it's Shemp's beer. And that's a throwback to the Three Stooges, and it's important for us to always work a little Stooge action in there somewhere. A little Michigan, a little Stooges. Oh, this is Ash's trip.
This is the sequence. How phenomenal
Was this
is
montage?
this?
Yeah.
That they did this. Honestly, I mean, I have to like my
Well,
parents
look,
when
this
they
is what Ash cares about.
yeah when my
old
par-
cartoons. I watched Dream of Jeannie.
well when my parents watched this episode on TV, like this was one of their things that they talked about where they were like, oh, it brought back so many memories. Just watching this drunk trip,
Of the Midwest, all those memories.
They had, forgotten what, I don't know, monster trucking is, or dancercise, or jazzercise, but they loved it.
I love the variety in Ash's taste, the
Yeah.
things that he likes.
Yeah,
He likes women, clearly. He likes women wrestling.
yeah,
He likes Farrah Fawcett, apparently.
yeah.
60s television shows, which I watched. I was a 60s TV kid.
Now in this, Bruce, I remember you talking about you needed Mike to walk you around while you had these prosthetics on your eyes because they were practically actually sewn shut because you couldn't see anything anyway because they were just glued on top of your eye.
Well, my eyes were taped closed, and then they put these appliances on top of that. And then in the course of a shooting day, then you have to rip it off and then try and be normal, and your eyes are all pink and squinty and puffy. And you're like, okay, let's do the romantic scene now after I've ripped the appliances off my eyes. Here's what's so cool about the Evil Dead crew. We needed a limbo set. And just the way they lit it and shot it, it was a very simple set. But they just made it so that you just can't see past a certain point. It just gets diffused and it's all silhouette-y. And, those are good decisions that you can create worlds very simply without spending a lot of money. Because in this script, we had to have all these different scenarios.
Right.
It wasn't just 2 or 3 sets. We were like 5, 6, 7, 8 different scenarios and sets. And that's where it makes Rob Tappert, crap himself. He's like, really? I got to build that many sets?
Right.
But, the writers want to write what they imagine. So it's always a compromise. Writers write and then producers produce. And then actors get stuck in the middle. But if you're friends with Rob Tappert, you can go into his office and say, hey, shut up. I need this or I need that. Or, it works out okay.
Because this Jacksonville.
I love how colorful Jacksonville is.
Yeah, man.
And how wonderful to pick Jacksonville, Florida, in reality, it's a big nothing city. No disrespect, Jacksonville.
No disrespect.
But you got nothing going for you. People think of Miami when they think of Florida. They don't even think of Jacksonville. They don't even know that it exists. And yet it's actually a huge city. It's kind of gigantic. And I like the fact that of all the cities you could pick, it's Jacksonville, Florida. Just some image. I don't think he's ever been there.
Right.
Jacksonville, Florida. Like Moline, Indiana. It's like, what? Why would you pick that one? So I don't know what happened. Maybe one of the writers, Craig DiGregorio, maybe some sexual favor happened in Jacksonville.
It always comes down to that,
he just
right?
loves Jacksonville. Now, this is pretty iconic. I have to say, Ray, that you got to jump in on this hand.
Yeah, this was so much fun and so dope because, he's fighting for the Ghost Beaters. He's doing whatever he can to keep that going. And the best part is coming up, I won't give it away, but it's totally black. It's like his head is made of coal.
Or ashes. Ow.
You okay?
I'm fine. I'll be right back.
Yeah, because these people have never seen this
I
show
was just
12 times already.
I know.
God forbid that we give something away. It was good to get that hand, and I'll tell you that just from a practical point of view.
Yes, will you explain that?
Well, just having a stump as a character, it blows. It just blows. You have to tuck your hand in. You put your hand in this sweaty thing. They give you baby powder. You put a sock over it. They give you a metal bar so your wrist doesn't bend. Then they have to wrap it around so the end of your fist doesn't look like a fist, even though it's a fist at the end of your arm. How's it supposed to look like a stump? So it was just the mechanics of that just got old. And from this episode forward, now I got a frickin' hand. And I can't tell you, it really makes me feel for people with disabilities, and I'm not trying to be a jerk here, when I got that hand back, I'm like, oh my God, I got it back. And I wonder, people with prosthetics, they probably are so glad to get help. Like, I can walk again.
Right.
Or I can reach out and grab something again. It really is amazing. Going about your day, sitting in my trailer, you go to do something, you only have one hand to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to have a hand.
It's a good
Thank
look
you.
for you. It's
Thank
a good
you, Ray,
look for
your
you.
effort.
Yeah, of course. Much
You
more to come.
took that Nintendo equipment, man, and you whipped it up. You got like all these gadgets
But that's what's
on it.
cool. They had early designs that were a little too slick, honestly. They were a little too Buck Rogers, kind of like a little too silvery. And I remember we told him, we were like, this is Pablo. He's got to pull crap out of toolboxes and bust something and pull something off of this car or whatever, parts and pieces. So I think they did a good job of making it look like it could have been built by Pablo, by a guy with basic skills.
Watch it. I feel like.
Well, you know what I mean? Without being an engineer.
Right,
no,
right.
I know what you mean.
A
I know
guy
what
who
you
had a
mean.
specific job. Oh, yeah, Ray, yeah.
I enjoyed, because I didn't know what kind of things were part of the hand, and so when I saw the other episodes and I saw that you had like that screwdriver and the flashlight, it made sense that Pablo would throw those things together. So I
Yeah.
totally get what you're saying.
But,
It couldn't be too high tech.
I think we got to do more, too. I think we got to
Yeah.
have a flamethrower. We got to have a grappling hook.
Flamethrower. That's Kelly's.
I think
Kelly wants a flamethrower.
I want to. Fine, you can have a flamethrower. I want a door smasher too, Pablo.
A
door
door-
smasher. And then you put the door smasher hand on.
You got to get a bottle opener on there as well. I mean,
That's a good
Ash
one too.
needs to have one.
These are all
Absolutely.
good ideas.
We'll put them
and
in
this
the
scene was refreshing.
suggestion
This
box.
is the first scene, by the way, since Evil Dead 2, where I can be a scene as Ash with both hands.
So
I
happy.
just want you to know that how much that. Well, I don't give a rat's ass what you think. That made me happy. I could sit and hold 2 beers. Be an actor with like hands and not monster gloves or whatever.
It's funny that you have the same sentiment as Ash, but for different reasons, where he's just excited to be holding 2 beers, but Bruce Campbell's excited to be holding 2 beers with 2 hands. Just,
Right, to be an actor with 2
yeah.
hands. Man, you're stepping on my buzz. And I suppose our lizard's going to come back, and I think he'll be around, Eli.
Oh, the actor iguana? The iguana actor, you mean?
Well,
like the actual...
that actor.
No, the actual iguana
That creature.
actor. Yes.
Even though we use a rubber one a lot.
He was kind of a diva. Remember, he was always crawling on that...
Never around when you needed it.
No.
Yep.
Okay, but wait, we missed it, Ray. When you told me that they put smoke in your hair after you got electrocuted,
Yeah.
I didn't believe you. And then when I saw the episode,
It's like, yeah, they
It was
flung me
amazing.
backwards in a harness and they like lit my hair on fire or something.
It was
I don't
amazing.
know.
How's the harness work, guys? You enjoying that?
I
loving
want
it. We
more.
want it all the time.
I want it all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
kind of dig it?
Love it.
I like it.
And the
Makes you
and
feel
the
all
stunts.
stunty and cool.
It does. It does. Like, and we get to do a lot of our own
Well,
stunts.
it does make you feel a little more badass. It makes you feel like a little super person
right.
kind of.
And since we're talking about it, shout out to Stu,
Stu.
and Dana, and my stunt double Crystal.
And Luciano, gotta
the
love
fabulous New Zealand stunt team.
They're amazing.
And Raicho, my stunt guy Raicho.
Oh,
Let's have a little stunt talk. These guys earn their money.
him. They
you know?
do.
Yes.
They throw
on
themselves
this show
around.
in particular.
Especially if you've seen like episode 6. Like that. for sure. But every episode
And they got a
outdo
gym for you
him.
guys. You guys can go work out, hit the bag.
Yeah,
I
we
know,
got a
we are.
gym.
We
We
got
got a
some-
boxing instructor. I was doing
We got-
jujitsu.
They have, like, stunt school over
Do you
there.
know, fun fact, we got off the plane from like whatever, for how long is it, 14 hours to New Zealand when we first went over there.
Yeah.
And they were like, it was, yeah, it's like 5 a.m. They're like, okay, we'll see you in 2 hours. We're going to do a producer meeting, hair and makeup test, wardrobe, and then you're doing stunt training. I mean, and it was amazing because like day one we were there.
Yeah, you're still awake, and
Yeah.
you're barely awake.
Barely,
And then they went,
but-
come on, stunt training.
And then I
Let's
tripped.
test your physical abilities.
Right, which didn't bode well for me considering I fall every day in life anyway. So when I tripped over the mat walking to the stage, and Dana looked at me like, her name is also Dana. She's like, oh, okay, well, we're going to take it slow. By the way, I love that you brought the doll. I love
Yeah, I
that
was
they
gonna
brought
say
little
people love the doll.
Lori.
Yeah, they love the doll.
My favorite thing about
Lori's badass.
She is. My favorite thing about little Lori, I don't know if you talked about it in episode 1 with Sam, but one of the highlights of my experience was watching, unfortunately for you, Sam put that doll on the end of that stick and shove it in your face over and over and over. And I just,
Well, the key thing in those, if you see any photographs from that, I've seen a few publicity photos, is not the expression on my face. Look at the expression on Sam's face.
Exactly.
His face is priceless. He's a guy, I'll dub in what he's thinking. This little doll, it's going to rip your face off. Yeah, there you go. How's that, Ash? How's that, Ash? He became little Lori.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
did.
people don't really realize. You know, little Lori is Sam. It's not something that he came up with. It is. She says what Sam would do. She would react how Sam would react. She would hate Ash how Sam would. Everything. And people just don't realize that. It's Sam. Sam is all through this series. He's every monster speaking. He's every little creature that tortures Ash because it's Sam's favorite thing is to torture the hero, on set and off. Did you get used to how Sam calls cut? When you knew you were going to do another take? If he just did this, if he did cut, you knew you were going to go again.
Yeah.
You knew it because that's a dissatisfied cut. Whereas, cut it out.
Cut it, Britta.
That way,
Or a child could do it.
a child could do it.
I had a lot of fun whacking you on the back of the head with that thing.
Yeah, Pablo whacks. First he whacks Fisher, then he whacks Ash. She's like a sneaking behind.
Pablo's a
guy.
whacker.
He's a he's a whacker.
And I think there's a sort of a part deux coming up with regard
Yeah.
to these two episodes. It's
They've-
sort of almost to be continued in a way.
Which is, yeah, it's great. It's kind of like, there's your hour-long episode, fans. It's basically
That's right.
a little mini-series.
No, here's your hour-long episode. Rewind it and watch it again.
Which is what most people do. And luckily, it plays
Indeed.
back-to-back on Stars often. But now we're on DVD, so hit backwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, until the next exciting episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead, thank you and good night.
Bye.